All right, good Thursday morning, everyone. 48 First Alert Meteorologist Eric Burke. It is 10:28. Thank you for joining us for Weather Extra. In case you missed it yesterday, I had my new morning anchor, Jonathan Skinner. We were just talking about some of the places that he's lived and worked in the TV business, and we had a really nice conversation yesterday. So if you happen to miss it, but you want to watch that conversation with Jonathan, talking mostly about the weather, a couple other, little tangents that we went on, but for the most part, we did just talk about the weather. You could scroll down. If you go to my Facebook page, it's like the third video down, or it was just yesterday's Weather Extra. We did have a guest, but we're right back to just hanging out with me, and what a morning it's been. I said this all morning. Yes, the showers and storms that we saw this morning, and kind of a surprise. No one really had that in the forecast, and the reason that it was so difficult, none of the models had it, and we actually had the showers and storms across the area develop along an outflow boundary. So that outflow boundary was basically the trigger for the widespread rain and storms we had for your Thursday morning. The storms that caused the outflow were well south of Birmingham. They were also out into Georgia, but sometimes it just takes that little spark, and that spark this morning to cause all the widespread showers and storms that we had was that outflow boundary. So sometimes weather, Mother Nature, can be humbling. This morning, an example of it, I'll be the first to admit. Thankfully, just a report of a couple trees down, nothing too substantial, and I know we had some flooding in Ardmore near that railroad bridge. If you've lived here maybe longer than a year, you know that even sometimes some heavy drizzle can cause that spot in Ardmore to do a little bit of flooding. But appreciate everyone that is hanging out with us. Still on the radar, the last of the showers this morning, a couple lightning strikes now down to zero. Then that's the first time since I've got into work this morning that we've had zero lightning strikes, and most of those lightning strikes were well north of us. Did get an interesting email this morning. Sometimes this is something that I try and clarify on air because it can be confusing, but a gentleman emailed me and he said, when you say 600 plus lightning strikes, what is that number referring to? And the way our radar product works, we always keep that little blue box up in the corner talking about the amount of lightning strikes. Basically what you see, the width of the radar, it's counting all of those lightning strikes in that area over a 5 to 10 minute window. So it's kind of a cumulative tally, if you will. And then if you notice when we zoom in on areas very close on the radar, that lightning counter goes way down because it's only picking up on that small area. Sometimes on TV, I try and reiterate that and just try and answer the question that some of you might be thinking in your head. Well, I got an email about it today, so I just wanted to share that and pass that along. Okay, now let's talk about the last of the mostly light rain showers. Right now, we are using the Columbus, Mississippi radar. Nothing wrong with high top, but the Columbus radar just a little closer to that rain that is pushing through parts of Lauderdale County, also up there into parts of Middle Tennessee. So this is the last of it for this morning. Unfortunately, not done for the rest of the day. We are still anticipating scattered showers and storms to develop through the afternoon into the evening, and I think we'll see a bit more coverage of those storms that develop. Unlike yesterday, we kind of just had one big cluster storm, and that did produce some wind damage as well as some hail, mainly just trees coming down, but it was mostly located over Jackson and DeKalb County towards Sand Mountain. Just another look using the NextRad radar site. Some light rainfall just east of you in Florence, and again, these storms today were moving from east to west because of where that outflow boundary was coming from. So we are dry for the most part, with the exception of you in Lauderdale County, Middle Tennessee right now. The last of those showers should have kind of a lull in the activity until we see the second round of rain and storms starting to pop up. Now the question is, did the morning showers kind of lower our instability for the afternoon? I think it might have a little bit, but we are still anticipating at least some form of scattered showers and storms to develop through that sweet spot. This time of year, it's going to be that late afternoon into the evening time frame. So go ahead, do whatever you got to do outside, but keep an eye on that 48 weather app. Has the radar tool, your hour-by-hour forecast. Just like yesterday, the storms that do develop have the potential of being strong to maybe even marginally severe. Could see some of those gusty winds. Now that we saw heavy rain this morning, the The ground is saturated, tree roots a little looser in that soil, so it might not necessarily take that 60+ mile per hour severe wind gust to maybe knock down some trees or at least some tree limbs. Heavy rainfall, that's a guarantee. Still a ton of moisture out there. You can just feel it, kind of that soupy air. Potential for some hail as well if we get some organized storms with good updrafts. And of course, the frequent cloud to ground lightning. Lightning, something that many of you woke up to this morning. The loud thunder, and I always stress this as well. Just because the storms are loud with booming thunder and frequent lightning doesn't mean they are severe. Criteria for severe thunderstorm warning, of course, hail 1 inch or larger in diameter, as well as wind gusts 60+ miles per hour. So some hail, not necessarily severe hail, probably expected today. A little bit more overcast in nature, and this is kind of where we're seeing some of the last of that rainfall in parts of northwest Alabama. 74 degrees right now in the Shoals as we look at Wilson Dam and Wilson Lake. Now, down the road, farther off to the east, another lake, Gunnersville. Beautiful day there. Temperature right now probably sitting in the upper 70s to low 80s, but a nice looking Gunnersville. It shows you just kind of how wide sometimes our viewing area is. I get reminded myself, you're tracking these storms on the radar and you just pan a little bit to the right, but in reality that's 50+ miles that you're panning. Of course, the difference between Wilson Dam and Gunnersville Lake, that's more than 50 miles for sure. So here's the heat advisory. This does continue for the rest of the day today and all the way through 7 o'clock Friday evening. So they've extended it one more day. I think we do stay below heat advisory criteria as we go into the weekend. Doesn't mean it's not going to be hot and humid, it means basically we won't hit that number to qualify for a heat advisory. So heat index still going to climb. Hey, look at this though. Thankful for that morning rain because look at our heat index right now. It feels like mid 70s in our western counties, 80s elsewhere. We've got 88 there in Albertville, 80 in beautiful Scottsboro, and it feels like 85 right now in Fort Payne. So hey, at least that rainfall this morning, it was beneficial, knocked down our feels like temperature, gave us some rainfall, just kind of broke the heat. And I think with the forecast that we had this morning, and we would have got a lot more emails if we hadn't been in this stretch of hot, humid weather. So, just an observation, that's all. But here's our heat index still climbing back into the upper 90s, maybe up to 105 until we see those storms. And once we see those storms firing up, we get some rain, cooled air, knocks down your feels like temperature. So kind of a welcome change of pace at least. But we are expecting isolated to scattered showers and storms as we go through the rest of the afternoon and evening. Some of these storms could be strong, maybe even marginally severe. Something we, of course, will be keeping an eye on. Meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer in with you later on for your evening newscasts. Okay, future radar. We are anticipating more cloud cover as we go through the afternoon. So kind of helps with the sun just not beating down on you directly, but a lot of you will be mostly sunny, maybe partly cloudy. We go later on into the afternoon as we're still heating up into the 90s, high humidity, inevitably. We see scattered showers and storms starting to pop up. Models have more so been favoring areas along and east of I-65, similar to yesterday, but we are still expecting scattered storms to potentially move west of I-65 into northwest Alabama. And these will be the storms that could produce the gusty winds, the hail, the heavy rain, and the lightning. Stay dry overnight. Tomorrow morning, probably some areas of dense fog, especially with the amount of rainfall that we saw this morning. Temperatures start off in the mid to upper 70s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, becoming partly cloudy. They'll warm up tomorrow. If we don't have morning rain, we're going to heat up a lot faster. As early as 2:30 now, tracking those scattered showers and storms starting to pop up. And that's a bummer just because it's a Friday and we're going into the weekend. A lot of you have more plans on Friday than you necessarily would for a Thursday. I don't know what your schedule is, but that's usually how mine works. And the closer we get to the weekend, the more we try and do. But scattered showers and storms stay with us Friday afternoon into the evening. They will be scattered, more hit and miss in nature, and not talking about anything too widespread. Then we start off the weekend on Saturday, upper 60s, low 70s, probably some areas of fog. So here's a look at Saturday. Typical summer weekend day. Hot, humid, temperatures warming, upper 80s, low 90s, feeling probably closer to 100 degrees. Then we just see those diurnally driven daytime pop-up convective storms, downpours, lightning, brief gusty winds, some delays, interruptions to those outside plans. Now as we go into Sunday, getting into some of the longer range model data, Potential for maybe a bit more wet hours than dry ones necessarily. We'll keep you updated on Sunday, but I do want you to know that this pattern does continue and stays active as we go into next week. An abbreviated work week with 4th of July, Independence Day, being next Friday. That forecast actually looks pretty good, and we'll show you that on your 10-day forecast. But Monday and Tuesday could see some bouts of heavy rainfall. This is model rainfall just through your Friday evening. I think it actually might include Saturday. Not sure if I updated that timestamp on it, if you will. But any storms that get going, like this morning, heavy rain certainly a possibility. Here's your weekend forecast. 90 Saturday, 89 on Sunday. We've got some cooler temperatures. That's great as far as forecast highs. But remember, with the humidity factored in, still probably feeling like upper 90s to lower 100s. Saturday, pop-up afternoon storms. Sunday, potentially looking a little bit wetter. Might even start off the day on Sunday with some storms and then again into the afternoon. So the gust front that triggered the morning storms, again, those storms came out of Georgia, central Alabama. The gust front tracked north, triggered our storms. We still have a ridge of high pressure on top of us, and that's the reason for some of the heat and humidity we've been dealing with. Overnight into tomorrow morning, some isolated showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder, probably expecting some areas of patchy but dense fog too for your Friday commute. And then we go into your Friday. Here it is, storms maybe popping up into the afternoon and evening, should be scattered just like we're anticipating today. Tomorrow afternoon also brings in a bit more cloud cover. So keep an eye on the weekend forecast, obviously. We'll give you that up-to-date timeline. I work tomorrow morning, I work Saturday morning. Plenty of information coming regarding your weekend forecast. We go into the early part of next week, and we've got better chances for rain and storms coming Monday and Tuesday. But 4th of July, you can see it right there on the right-hand side of your screen, your phone, your tablet, whatever you're looking at, watching me right now. High of 90, mostly sunny, maybe a pop-up shower or storm. Hopefully at least Friday evening is fine as we get some fireworks. But how awesome is that? 4th of July falls on a Friday. So good stuff. That's it for Weather Extra. Thank you so much for your time. As always, appreciate you all joining us. It has been fantastic. Have a good day. Storms popping up this afternoon, should be scattered. Some might be strong to even marginally severe. All right, we'll see you at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Have a good one.